Hi everyone, here's a real quick tutorial on how to make sure that your authentication is turned on in Zoom. Open up your browser, type in lausd.zoom.us. Some of you might already be signed in and some of you might not. Make sure you are in this landing page, and on the landing page you are selecting sign in. You're going to be asked to select your single sign-on for LAUSD. And once you've signed on with your password, you're entering your settings page. Now for Zoom, what you're going to do is go to settings on the left column, and under security, the section, so towards the bottom, there's a section on authentication. And here it is. It says only authenticated users can join meeting. Please make sure that this is turned on. You'll notice that the options say, LAUSD employees and students only, and that's the default. That's what LAUSD has required us to do. Make sure that this is not altered in any way. But the second thing you want to do is also make sure that only authenticated users can join meetings from web client. And what's happening is some students are entering in through links, just direct links, and are not required to sign in with their single sign-on. And so you might notice them as guests in your participant list. But turning this on will require them to use their SSO. Okay, so in your settings, make sure that this is turned on. Now, one caveat though is that if you, for some reason, are doing like a public meeting, like a workshop with parents, this might need to be turned off so that it's more accessible for parents. But you can do that right before the meeting. Okay, so once your settings are turned on, that's not the only step you need to do. When you create a meeting, let's go to meetings. And let's create a new meeting. There's one little step that you have to do. So you set up your meeting time, you decide whether you want it to be recurring or whatnot. And in the settings, you need to make sure that in the meeting options, only authenticated users can join. And by checking that off, you're ensuring that only LAUSD employees and students are entering your Zoom session. And then save it. Now, if you've already set up recurring meetings for your classes and you did not do this option, you don't need to start all over. What you will do is go back to your meetings and find those recurring meetings, or you might find them in upcoming, or you might find them in previous, depending on how it's worded. And what you can do is kind of hover over that meeting, go to edit, and you can edit the settings right then and there. So go back, and it looks like I've already done it for this group. Okay, so scroll down and make sure you turn on authenticated users can join and LAUSD students, employees and students only. What happens is when this is checked off, students are going to try to enter your Zoom meeting, and if they're not already authenticated, they don't already have the Zoom app downloaded, or they're not signed in, they will see a message that forces them to sign in with their single sign-on, or it might force them to download an app or an extension, which they need to follow the directions on doing in order to access your Zoom meeting. Typically, once they're signed in, for some reason, for most computers, they already save the data. So for future meetings, it shouldn't be an issue to get in. It'll automatically recognize that they've already authenticated and will let them into the meeting. And I think that's it. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to any of the classroom staff.